Welcome to the Digital Signage Works podcast. I'm Martin Lindsley.
I'm Robert Mullen, here with Martin Lindsley.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Good thing that I'm here with you. Otherwise, that would have been awkward with me speaking and not being here.
Yeah.
So this week, we're going to talk about consumer digital signage versus commercial digital signage. What does that mean? What are the different types? And how do you know what type you might need? What will be best for you and your organization? So, Rob, let's go through a little bit of this. First, let's talk about consumer digital signage. What is consumer digital signage? What classifies as that?
Well, consumer digital signage is, I don't know how to classify it as a classification, but consumer digital signage usually consists of a homemade system, usually consisting of just a regular TV that you get from Sam's Club, something like that, or Walmart. And then some sort of homemade player system, be it a PC that you happen to have laying around that had PowerPoint on it, or perhaps you used a system that you sort of built yourself using something like Raspberry Pi.
Okay, now what about like smart TVs, stuff like that, where you can just throw something on a USB drive? Is that and stick that into the back of the TV? Is that kind of classify as consumer?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So you don't even have to get that at some Walmart place. Obviously, Best Buy and
Yeah.
many other manufacturers might.
Yeah.
Target even.
Target's good. You can get it from Amazon.
All right, good. So basically, a TV that has the capability of throwing out some type of video signal, and then you have some type of device to manage that. So now you said Raspberry Pi. So what's maybe why some people might turn to Raspberry Pi as a digital signage solution? What would be one of the keys for that, do you think?
Two reasons. One, they are techie and they like to create things. They like to build things from scratch. So Raspberry Pi is a good way to do that because you have to really build your own player, build your own circuitry. I don't know a whole lot about Raspberry Pi. I'm not an engineer type. But those are the types of people who really like going for Raspberry Pi. In addition, it's also very inexpensive.
Right. So if you like to tinker around with stuff, come up with your own system, that's why Raspberry Pi is great for those types of people who really like to get their hands dirty when it comes to the tech side of things. So,
right.
And that's a lot of times with consumer digital signage, that's what you find. Something's been cobbled together out of different parts, pieces, but with the end result of having something appear out on the screen. So when it comes to commercial digital signage, what's the difference? What are some features that we can expect if we're looking for commercial or industrial strength digital signage?
Well, for industrial strength digital signage or commercial grade industrial signage, there's really two components. And the first component is the hardware. You're going to have more robust hardware. You're going to have hardware that's designed for longer use, even 24-hour, 7-day-a-week use. So that's going to be the LCD display that's designed for use with digital signage, designed for use in little harsher climates, things like that. In addition, a player of some sort, some way to get that signal to the screen is going to be a little bit more robust and actually designed to do digital signage. It's going to be designed to do a lot more than, say, a PC playing PowerPoint. The other half is going to be services and the company that provide that. With a commercial grade or an industrial grade system, you're going to have a company whose job it is to create digital signage, is to create systems for you so that you can get your job done. What they are going to do is all the tinkering around. They're going to do the inventing, and they're going to do the servicing of the system so that you can continue doing your job, which is, if you're working in manufacturing, building things, or if you're in a restaurant or something like that, selling food.
I think one of the things, too, that's good to think about when it comes to commercial digital signage is also the networking capability. You have the ability to have a multitude of screens connected to one system and be able to manage those remotely or from one location, whereas a lot of times with the consumer grade, you're kind of hopping around from screen to screen and trying to maintain all that at one time. If you have several screens, that could present a little bit of a time issue, as well as how do you make sure all the screens are showing what they're supposed to at all times. You kind of have to rely on the second party or Lewis and Clark out on an expedition, checking out your screens, letting you know what's playing on them. So those are some things to kind of keep in mind as far as some of the differences between commercial and consumer?
Probably, now that we're talking about this, the biggest thing in my mind that will separate the consumer versus the industrial is automation. Really is what it comes down to. If you have to think of one word, what's the difference between consumer and commercial? It's going to be how automated is it going to be. With consumer, it's very inexpensive. It's very easy to go out and build, but it's not going to be automatic. You're not going to be able to remote manage it. You're not going to be able to have it update on its own very easily. With a commercial grade system, you're going to be able to pull from databases. You can have your SQL database and your website and an Excel sheet and maybe a folder with a bunch of pictures in it. You can pull all that together and put it into one slide and have that appear every day and have it be slightly different depending on the type of data that you have. So it's going to be all automated, and that networking plays a big part in that, and the software as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, something else as far as consumer digital signage goes is, that's great if, let's say you have just a couple people that are going to always be managing the system. They can create their own system. We'll go back to the Raspberry Pi. They know all the ins and outs of how that works, probably in an organization. Unless you're selling Raspberry Pis or dealing with them, you're not going to know a lot about how that works as far as somebody else coming in and taking over the system. Now, if you're in a larger organization and maybe there's a higher turnover rate or multiple people are going to have access to the system, and you're probably going to want something that's a little more standard, or then you can have that as good support like you were talking about earlier, as far as helping to give training, and if one person moves on from working with the system and somebody else comes in to take their place, they know that they have a good support group behind them to get them up to speed quickly, and they're not trying to dig through ratty old notebooks with stuff scribbled on them that somebody used when they first invented their homebrew digital signage network. So it can work both ways. I guess that's kind of the next question, is how do you determine really which system is going to be best for you? As far as, let's say I'm the end user and I'm like, hey Rob, what do I want? Can I get away with consumer, or do I need something more robust? What are some factors do you think that might come into play there?
Well, several factors are involved. One is the size of your organization. If you're working a deli by yourself and you change your content once a month or once a year, then maybe a consumer grade screen with a USB drive will work. But if you're really a large organization, you're multinational or even just national with many locations, or even just a really big location, 500 square feet, something like that, then you're going to want to go with a commercial grade screen.
Now, 500 square feet is about the size of my garage.
500,000.
And that's
yes.
That's for my bikes. That's not for my car.
500,000 to 100,000 square feet. You caught me on that. Sorry.
I've been waiting to find you on something.
The point being is you're going to end up with a lot of screens throughout, and something as simple as turning all of them off at the end of the day, if you're not a 24-hour operation, could be a big hassle.
Right. And that's something that you need to consider, is how much time do you want to put into your digital signage. And a lot of organizations don't have a digital signage person. There's no digital signage department.
Right.
That's going to all fall on somebody else within the organization to learn all the ins and outs of it and daily operations, whatever that's going to happen with that. So you have to take that into consideration too, if you're going to have multiple people that need to know how to run it. And again, we go back to the high turnover rate, which can present issues as well. Then that's something to keep in mind as to what your system is. I know, a lot of us IT people, we like to get in there and see what we can make out of nothing. A paper clip and a credit card, and what can I create?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. And so but then thinking for the good of the organization, once you get outside of that realm, if things have to continue on, or I go on an extended vacation, I don't want to get calls from somebody, hey, right, how do I put up new content? So that's another matter to consider.
Something else to consider is, why would an organization be getting digital signage in the first place? And they want to communicate with the employees. They want them to be up to date. And what they want to do is replace a system that they already have, which is usually a whiteboard system or a printed system, which are both very manual. many companies have called me looking for digital signage, and they tell me, oh yeah, we print flyers out 5 times a day, and we walk around this huge facility. We post them, at various locations near the water cooler, near the bathroom and everything, but they're not very effective. Whiteboards, it's the same thing. You have to rewrite them every day or every hour, whatever you're trying to do. So you want an automated system. You want to do better than what you're doing. So that's another reason why you want to go with commercial grade system.
Okay, very good. Well, that's a pretty nice encapsulation. Encapsulation, is that a word?
We're going with it.
Okay. I didn't win me in my Scrabble tournament last week. I got challenged. But there we have it. Consumer, commercial, some of the things to consider. And also, it's important to really think through the end use of what actually, who's going to be using the signage, what's it actually going to be for, how often do you have to maintain it. Those will be huge factors in determining which way to go with that. So, I think that's pretty decent on there, Rob. We'd like to invite everyone to make sure you visit noventri.com/blog, and there you'll find our podcast. You can listen to previous episodes and hear Rob and I ramble on about many other topics as well. So we invite you to go there if you'd like and check that out, and also be sure to like us, subscribe to us, and we'll keep feeding you digital signage knowledge.
That's right. We're on iTunes and many of the pod feeders out there. So pick your favorite one and subscribe.
Very good. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.